Hello students, let us start with a new poem. The poem The Wind by Subramanya Bharti. Before starting, let us have an overlook over the contents of the presentation. The contents are as follows: introduction to the poem and its explanation, literary devices in the poem, and glossary. Let us go with the introduction. We all know that wind is a natural phenomenon. In this poem, the poet talks to the wind. The power of wind has been described, and the poet says that wind is destructive. We all know that wind may prove destructive if it takes a dangerous form. He has linked the destructive power of wind to the adversities of life and says that the weak people break down, but stronger people emerge out of adversities strongly. Here, he is comparing the destructive wind with the adversities that human beings face. For example, during strong winds, the trees which are very strong, they do not uproot, but the trees which are weaker, they gets uprooted. In the similar way, in critical situations, in problematic situations, the people who are not very strong, who are weaker, they break down, whereas the stronger people emerge out of the problems, of the adversities. The poem gives an important message that we should be mentally tough and physically strong in order to survive the hardships of life. Life is a game. Sometimes there is happiness, and sometimes there are sorrows. So we have to cope up with sorrows as well. To cope up with sorrows, to cope up with the critical situations, we have to prepare our mind. We have to be mentally strong as well as physically strong. A weak person breaks down like a weak building and crumbles. We must take these destructive forces, our friends, with our strength and determination. We should face all these problems with strength and strong determination. This is the central idea of the poem, in which the poet has compared the wind to the problems and adversities of life, and he has categorized human beings, that is we, into two parts, into two segments: the stronger people and the weaker people. Due to adversities, due to critical situations, the people who are stronger, they emerge out, whereas the people who are weaker, they simply break down. So let us start with the poem and explanation. In the first paragraph, the lines of the poem are there, and in this next paragraph, adjacent paragraphs, the explanation is there. Wind, come softly, don't break the shutters of the windows, don't scatter the papers, don't throw down the books on the shelf. There, look what you did. You threw them all down. You tore the pages of the books. You brought rain again. You are very clever at poking fun at weaklings. The poet is talking to the wind. Here, the poet is talking to the wind. The poet is addressing to the wind as wind is a person. Okay. As two friends are talking to each other, in the similar way, the poet is considering wind as a person and addressing the wind, and poet is talking to the wind. He asked the wind to come softly. The poet is asking wind to come softly, don't take destructive form. So he is saying that the wind should be not very strong and loud. It should be soft and subtle. Then he says that the wind is very powerful, it is destructive. The poet is saying the wind should be soft and subtle, it should not be very strong and loud, and if the wind is powerful, then it is destructive. It breaks the shutters of the windows and scatters the papers. When the wind is powerful, all the books which are kept on the shelf fall down. So here the poet is describing the power of the wind by taking such examples that the window shutters will break down, that the papers will scatter, that all the books from the shelf will fall down, the pages of the book will tore out. So here the poet is describing the power of the wind. Then he says to the wind to look at the destruction that it had done. Whenever there is a strong wind, all the things that are weak like small plants, tiny children, etc., they all get scared and they can even fall and get hurt. The poet is saying, appealing to the wind that please slow down, and then he is saying to the wind, he is conveying wind, he just want to show wind that what destruction the wind has done. He is telling to the wind that look what all destruction you have done, and the weaker one like small plants, small children, they get scared of you. They get scared of destructive wind and they can even fall and get hurt. We can say that in the initial part of the poem, the poet is referring to the wind as young child. He is saying that it should come softly just like a small child does. In the later part, we come to know that the wind is destructive just like a youth, just like a young boy or young girl who is full of energy, violence and destruction. Here, the poet has again compared the wind into two phases of human being. How? In the initial lines, the poet is saying, wind, come slowly, come softly, come with subtle. Okay, that means here the poet has compared wind to a small child. Small child, he or she comes softly, slowly, talks softly. In the later part, the wind is becoming destructive. It is scattering the papers, it is turning out the books. So here the poet is comparing the wind to the young boy or a young girl. That is the youth stage. That is the youth stage of a person which is full of energy, violence and destruction. For example, if our teachers, if our parents at this age, you are into your teens. If in your teens your parents and teachers scold you, you really don't feel good. You feel very bad. Why you feel bad? Because you are just approaching towards youth. Now you are full of energy, violence and distraction. You never think that the person who is scolding you, they are scolding you for your betterment, for your better career, for your better life. Okay, so in the later part, in the later linings of the poem, the wind has compared the poet has compared the wind to the youth stage. Frail crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters, crumbling wood, crumbling bodies, crumbling lives, crumbling hearts. The wind, God winnows and crushes them all. Here the word crumbling is repeated so many times to lay stress that everything crumbles down in the face of a strong wind. So the writer is saying that when wind is very powerful, it is very strong, it leads to breakage of everything. Here crumble means to break. Houses which are weak fall. Doors which are weak fall. The beams on which the roof of the buildings are supported, they also fall. All the wooden structures fall. All bodies of people fall. Animal lives, hearts, everything falls. So he is saying that everything crumbles. That means everything falls. Everything that is weak reacts by falling down and breaking in the face of adversity. Here the poet is saying the things which are weaker, they fall. In the same way, the person who are weaker, they fall down. Everything that is weak reacts by falling down and breaking in the face of adversity. So, the poet is saying that whenever a weak person faces any adversity or challenge in life, he breaks down and falls. The poet is addressing to wind as wind god, and he is saying that the powerful god of wind winnows. That means he sifts all the people, and those people who are weak fall down and get crushed. Do you know the process of winnowing? Winnowing is the process of farming in which the chaff means residue of the grains, covered of the grains. The chaffs get separated from the grains. How? A person standing at a height, it raises the hands high and makes the grains and chaff to fall. The heavier particles, that are the grains, they settle down, whereas the chaff, it flies away. Okay, in this way the chaff and the grains get separated. This is the meaning of winnowing, and the method which I have told you is the traditional method. Nowadays machineries are there for winnowing, but previously farmers used to do so. The poet is addressing to wind as wind god, and he is saying that the powerful god of wind winnows. That means he sifts, he sorts out all the people, and those people who are weak fall down and gets crushed. The people who are weak, they get crushed. So here a comparison is made between wheat and people. Just like we winnow the wheat to separate the grain from chaff, the wind god separates the strong people from the weak people. Understood the concept? When there is a strong wind, all the things that are weak fall and get crushed. He won't do what you tell him. So come, let's build strong homes. Let's join the doors firmly, practice to form the body, make the heart steadfast. Do this and the wind will be friends with us. The poet wants us to make friends with the wind. That is, the poet wants human beings to create a friendly relation with the wind. That is the adversities in our life. Wind is compared to the adversities in our life, the problems of our life. So we have to consider problems of our life as our friends, and we have to cope up with them. He says that the problems will not listen to us. They will come, so we should be prepared. We have to be prepared for any of the problems. Like we are facing this dangerous problem nowadays, the COVID-19. So we were not prepared previously, but now we are preparing ourselves how to cope up with this situation. So here COVID-19 is the wind, that is adversity, okay, which we are facing nowadays. They will come, so we should be prepared. In preparation, we should build strong homes and close the doors of our house firmly so that wind cannot get into. To cope up with a strong wind, what we should do? Our home should be very strong and our doors should be closed very firmly. And then he says that we should also make our bodies strong and hearts firm to face these challenges. As I just told you that we are preparing ourselves to face the situation which we are facing nowadays, and we are preparing our immunity, our bodies strong and heart strong to face all these challenges. And then once we are strong enough, all the challenges will be like friends. If we are strong enough to face these challenges, then challenges will appear to us as friends. We will not feel that they are troublesome. We will not find these challenges afterwards troublesome if we consider them as friends. Last paragraph. The wind blows out weak fires. He makes strong fires roar and flourish. His friendship is good. We praise him every day. The poet has kept the wind on a pedestal. He is comparing the wind to God. He says that wind is God and we praise wind every day. He adds that everything that is weak gets finished off in the face of strong wind. And all the things that are strong flourish and grow to become stronger. He is giving us a very important message that we should not feel bad that we are facing so many challenges and adversities in life. We should make ourselves physically and mentally strong to face these challenges. And once we are strong enough, we will overcome all the challenges. We will become friends with them. And then we will be happy that we had these challenges in our life because they help us to become stronger and better. So, the theme of the poem is what the poet wants to convey from this poem, that the wind which is being compared to the challenges and the problems, we have to make ourselves so smart and so strong that we should be able to cope up with all the situations. And in this way, if we are able to cope up with all the situations, then we will make ourselves strong. And if we will be strong, then we can face any challenges in our life and we will grow up as a stronger and better person forever. Now, literary devices in the poem. First, let us look for the rhyming scheme. The entire poem is written in a free verse. There is no particular rhyming scheme. Rhyming scheme means the ending words should match A, B, C, D, A, B, A, B, A, B, B, like this. But in this poem is written completely in a free verse, so it is not following any rhyming scheme. Literary devices used. Anaphora, when a word is repeated at the start of two or more consecutive lines, it is the device of anaphora. Line 2, 3, 4 begin with don't. Line 6, 7, 8 begin with you. Personification. Wind is personified. What is personification? When a non-living thing is given the characteristics of a human being, then that figure of speech is considered as personification. And here in the entire poem, we have seen that the poet is addressing to the wind. The poet is talking to the wind. That means the poet is comparing the wind to a human being. Therefore, wind is compared to a human being. Therefore, this is the personification. Repetition. Crumbling is repeated many times to lay emphasis. The poet wants to say that the wind crushes everything that is weak. That is why he repeats the word crumbling. So, what is the figure of speech? Repetition. When a particular word is repeated again and again. Be very specific. I am talking about word, not letter, not initial letter. When the initial letter is repeated, then that is alliteration. We will see afterwards. The next one. What is repetition? When the entire word is repeated. Okay, what is repetition? Which figure of speech is repetition? When entire word is repeated to bring the poetic effect. Next is alliteration. When the initial letter is repeated. For example, wind, winnows, won't, want. This is the example of alliteration. Symbolism. Symbolism means that the thing refers to some other thing. Wind is a symbol. It refers to the challenges in life. He is using wind as a symbol for adversities in our life. Symbolism means when we are symbolizing some other thing with some thing. Here we are taking example of wind. Wind is compared, or wind is symbolizing challenges and adversities in life. Okay, so this is symbolism. Glossary: poking fun, making fun of something. Weaklings: a person who is weak. Crumbling, falling, or to cause something to break. Rafter: sloping beam which support the roof of the building. Winnows: to break grain free from chaff, or to separate grain from husk by blowing on it. Steadfast, firm, strong. Flourish, grow. Last, let us summarize the poem once again. The first part of the poem describes the action of the wind. The poet asks the wind to come softly. He requests the wind not to break the shutters of the winds, not to scatter the papers and throw down the books from the shelf. But the wind throws the book and tears the pages. The poet says that the wind makes a mockery of weaklings. It brings down frail houses, crumbling doors, rafters, and even weak hearts. It crushes everything that is weak. The poet this is the destruction caused by the wind, which are being compared with the adversities and challenges of life. The poet advises us to be strong. Only then we can save ourselves from the strong wind that are the challenges and problems. We should build strong homes with firm doors. Our bodies and hearts should be very strong. It is the way of the world to kick the weak and to be friends with the strong. The wind blows out of the weak fires but makes the strong fires roar and flourish. Thus the poem conveys the idea that nobody cares for the weak. So, if you want to be noticed, if you want to be cared by someone, if you want to be outstanding, you have to be strong. Even the wind is on the side of the strong people. We must make ourselves strong to become successful and overcome the challenges in life. So, here we are ending with the poem. Let's meet with the next chapter next time. Good night.